Okay, so this is my relatively clean desktop because it's the beginning of the year. And the Mac, this is called the Finder. And if you click on like the background of your screen or whatever, you'll see Finder. The first thing I want to do is show you how to adjust some things in the Finder that'll make your life a little easier. I've got some files on my desktop, but you'll notice I can't see my hard drive. And that's the default on a Mac, and I don't like it. So I'm going to go over to where it says Finder. If you don't see that, you'll want to click kind of anywhere in the background so Finder becomes the active application. Anyways, go down to the preferences. Show these items on the desktop. Hard disks. That's a good idea, right? And here's my hard drive. I encourage you to do that. Now, you're probably not very often going to plug in CDs, DVDs, and iPods, but you might as well show them on the desktop when you do. I would say about the same with connected servers. And you're definitely going to be plugging in external drives all the time. A couple other things that I would say are more just preferences. I like to open folders and tabs instead of new windows. And basically what that means is if I go to, like, here's my hard drive. And then I'm going to go into this folder as well. And that's opening in a new window. As opposed to opening a new tab, right, where I can like look at something else. Kind of go back and forth. Now, that's not super important, but your desktop's going to get really cluttered and crowded really fast. I went down to advanced. I like to show all file name extensions. So you can see I can toggle that. And, well, some of them didn't change, but some of them did. File extensions define what type of file you have on your computer. And from the operating system's point of view, that tells it what application to launch in order to open it. So sometimes we have to deal with them. So that's kind of good. Okay, so now you should have Mac hard drive or whatever your hard drive is called here. And again, I double clicked it. When you do that, you get these 4 folders. Your applications are where your applications are going to be installed. That's probably not a big surprise. Your library sounds important, but you're not going to go in here too much. It's mostly just kind of like background stuff. Same with system. You don't have to mess with that. Your stuff is in users. So if you go to users, then you should see your own name. And there might be a little icon in that folder that's going to indicate it's the home folder for you, the user. Now, I also have a shared folder. You might as well. That's in case multiple people use the same computer. I also have an administrator folder because this is not my computer, it's Elon's. So I'm going to go into my home folder. When I double click that, mine's bwalsh 5. This is where all my stuff is. And what I mean by that is, here's the actual location of your on your hard drive of where your desktop is. You'll see all this stuff like War and Peace. That's all over here, right? So that's where your desktop is. This is also where Documents lives, which is where like Microsoft Word by default will probably want to download or save something. Your downloads folder, very important. And movies, music, pictures, because by default the assumption is you are going to use your internal hard drive for all 3 of those things, which I recommend against, and I will talk about in our next video. Okay, so we've done showing these, external drives and stuff, and showing extensions. We were kind of looking at views here. You can see I'm in this view here. When I click on something, it opens the contents of that folder to the right, and I can just kind of keep going here. It goes pretty far, right? And I can see that entire path. Well, you can change that view and make it like a list, and it's just not going to work quite the same way. Or as icons, which is almost impossible to use. I wouldn't recommend that. So my recommendation if you are new is to do columns, because again, you'll be able to see the path, that is where things live, where they end up on your hard drive. So I could say that this folder is inside jQuery and JavaScript, which is inside Books, which is inside Documents, which is inside bwalsh 5, which, as we know, is hard drive, users. That's my home folder. I'm going to be teaching all programming. By default, programming applications want to install stuff into your home folder.